As we begin with another chapter, we are brought to a situation where a group of people are standing there with dumbstruck expressions plastered onto their faces. With their mouths are hung wide open. Within a group or organization, even society in general, first impressions are extremely important. And when you see someone charge forward, towards monster without any regard for their own life, while everyone else is fleeing for their lives, and literally drop kick a goblin in his face and obliterating it, it will, without a doubt, get engraved into their memories forever. With our hero making the first move and taking down the goblin with ease, it was a calculative move, in order to leave a certain impression, also to keep all the troublesome flies away. After catapulting the goblin away, he now has his first weapon. Picking up the goblin's dagger, our hero thinks to himself, the most important objective right now is to show off more of my strength. Looking up, towards the angel in the sky. I need to attract that thing's attention somehow, and in order to do that, I will have to put on a performance of a lifetime, for this sadistic bitch. As the goblins start rushing towards our hero, sporting shabby rags and crude daggers, our hero flips the dagger in one swift motion, and charges forward, ducking in and out between each of the goblins and insta-killing them with a single slash from his dagger, which in turn grabbed the attention from the very same crowd that told him to run away. That's so cool. Did anyone else see that? Who is this guy? He has to be from the military or something because no normal person should be able to move like that. As they were admiring our hero, they finally noticed they were getting encroached upon by some goblins. One of them stutters and says they see can't be that hard to kill, right? They are usually the weakest mobs in games, right? With intimated looks on their faces, one of the other guys say we should be able to kill them too, maybe not as easily as Black Scythe. Another guy chimes in while rolling up his sleeves and says, yeah. They probably won't be too much trouble, we can actually mop the flow. Before he could even finish talking, he found a goblin already on top of him, which stunned everyone around him. With the goblin laughing maniacally with his dagger plunged right into the guy's gut, and everyone frozen in place. That was until someone screamed, Yoa. Then everyone scattered and stumbled everywhere in all directions screaming, save me. After our hero just finished slashing open a goblin's neck, he glanced over his shoulder from the corner of his eye. It was complete pandemonium. Everyone was just running around, screaming and getting slaughtered. With this type of situation happening everywhere, for as long as they will live, they will never mistake this as a simple game again. With their friends and family getting butchered like pigs, one after the other, there would only be one thing left in their head, which would be their survival, to survive at any cost. Their survival instincts will kick in and people will start abandoning and betraying people left and right, leaving others to die at the hands of these monsters, because their instincts will be telling them to just run. Looking at this disaster unfolding in front of him, he could only sigh in his heart and not blame them at all. Thinking back to his first attempt, he did exactly the same thing as all these people. Only on his second attempt did he realize that running away is completely hopeless. That is because there is nowhere to run, we're trapped within a barrier. A guy with a dagger within his hand hesitates, and noticed the girl screaming and ran right into the barrier. For a normal person who hasn't even killed anything in their lives, will always hesitate to kill anything, even if that something is a goblin. But in order to survive in this game, you have to remove all your fears and overcome them and never hesitate, because that could very well mean your death. The angel, which is just floating in the air and observing the humans getting killed off one by one, and just chuckles to herself, thinking it is quite amusing, and says, Kyo ho ho ho. It's quite entertaining to watch these lower beings fight for their lives. Even when they are the size of small children, they are quite savage and charging without any restraint. There is almost nothing a person can do when they're low-leveled and they charge at you wielding daggers. But then she looks over in another direction with her a smile filled with amusement, and says however. She looks at our hero, that is dicing up goblins left and right, with their blood gushing out everywhere like he's strolling through a water park. She couldn't help but think, just what is that human? Is he even a human to begin with? She pulls up his info, which only shows his name and quest completion progress. Looking down at his name, Black Scythe? When she tries to get more info, she gets irritated. What the hell is going on? Why is the system concealing all his info? Getting frustrated. She closes the info prompt with a wave of her dainty hand and says, "Oh well, in any case, as a superior being, it kind of hurts my pride to guide these inferior beings, like I am some sort of shepherd, but seeing there is a few special cases here, I guess it is a little enjoyable to watch over them." The scene changes back to our boy where he gashes the goblin's face, soon after. Multiple system prompts appear one after the other. You have slain a goblin, plus 4% experience, plus 10 gold. You have leveled up. Defeated 75 out of 100 goblins. Our hero then dodges a projectile by bowing his back backwards. He then looks to his right and notices 5 goblins charging towards him in a frenzy. He just turned and dove towards them and started slaying them one by one with complete ease, as if they were frozen in place. Drenched in goblin blood, he twirls the dagger in his hand with complete mastery, and stares at the last goblin, which almost makes him shit in his shabby rags for clothes. Not wasting any time, he charges forward and plunges the dagger into the goblin's face. After removing the dagger from the goblin, he looks up with blood running down his face and asks, "Is anyone coming?" After getting back up and notice that he intimidated the goblins enough for them to back off for a bit. With a sigh, he rubs his face with the back of his hand and smears the blood that coated him and says, "I guess it's time for a quick breather. I guess it's time to check my stats." He notices that he has leveled 3 times within a blink of an eye. Every time a person levels up, they get an additional 2 stat points. He then decides to add all his extra stats to dexterity. Dexterity increases both attack and movement speed. It also increases your chances of dodging. While pondering all this, our hero thinks to himself, during the early stages of the game, dexterity is probably the most important and versatile stat. With break time over and stats are taken care of, it's time to finish things up. Thinking this, our hero couldn't help but wonder if he managed to attract the angel's attention by now, and if not. Then the next thing you see is a dagger twirling right past the goblin's head and plunges directly into the head of a goblin that was directly behind him. With his hand still extended outwards, he taunts the remainder of the goblins by saying, "What? Are you not coming?" Seeing them not moving, he just sighs and says, "I guess not." Then, as if he teleported, he appears right next to the dead body, and retrieves the dagger he just threw and says, "I guess it'll have to come to you then." The goblin, startled, tries to turn around quickly, only to get caught up in a whirlwind of an attack, with him and his fellow brethren hacked into pieces. With that, our hero gets multiple prompts saying, "You have leveled up, killed all 100 goblins, and he has completed the quest." Then our hero gets encased in a golden barrier. He couldn't help but think, "I guess I passed the first round without any trouble." The reason why he went on a huge slaughterfest was to catch the angel's attention. Then another prompt appears, "Congratulations. You have completed the quest and came in first place within your current region." Followed by another prompt right after saying, "Congratulations. You have completed the quest and came in first for the entire region." Which was then followed by the leaderboard appearing, showing our hero that he nailed first place for the first round, within 10 minutes and 21 seconds for the entire region. As our hero was feeling smug, looking at the leaderboard thinking, "To think I would get first place in the entire region as well." Which is perfect because one can get a better reward for the time completion for each round. But obviously that would also depend on your base standing in the top 3 as well. As he was thinking this, received yet another system prompt informing him, "For coming in first place in your current region, you received a low-rank rare weapon ticket," followed by another prompt saying, "As a reward for placing first in your entire region, you received a special reward selection chest." Stoked, he instantly opens up his inventory and decides to use his weapon ticket first that he has received from the current region reward. When used, it gave him 3 options to pick from: a menacing longsword, a stiletto, and a javelin. While looking at his options, he pauses for a second. He couldn't help but feel a little grateful to receive something this useful, so early into the game. Already made up his mind, he places his finger on his selection. With a ding, a system appears saying, "You have obtained the stiletto." As he rads out the following details: stiletto, type, weapon, rank, rare, attack, 15, effect, +1 to dexterity, durability, 150/150, restrictions, for beginner rank and above, description, the best weapon among daggers, even a beginner could use it. Now with our hero getting a new weapon, he tosses the goblin's dagger onto the ground like a piece of trash. While thinking of what he should do next, he decides to leave the selection chest he has received from the entire region reward for later. He touches the X to exit from his inventory. While our hero is lost in his own world, the people all around him are running around, screaming and trying to stay alive the best that they can. Not even paying attention to all the suffering that is happening around him, still in deep thought with a finger on his chin, all of a sudden, realization dawned upon him. He exclaims out loud, "Oh, now that I think about it, the title I got, the Last Time Traveler, this is something new. I never have received this during my 99 attempts before." He then pulls out the rune fragment from his inventory and says out loud, "Use." After using the shard, a bunch of prompts followed suit. "You have used a random rune fragment. Congratulations. You have obtained the time of perseverance. The rune will now automatically be engraved into his body. Vestiges of the selected rune are already prepared, so the special properties of the engraving. While looking at the prompts written out inside his heart, of course this would be natural. Otherwise I would have had this time of perseverance." While lost in his thoughts, a few more prompts appear, due to the vestiges of the rune engraved in the soul. "You have been identified as a time traveler with 100 travels." Followed by, "You have obtained the title Last Time Traveler." Seeing this, our hero was surprised, so he instantly pulled up his title information, because the concepts of titles are even above him.